What's up YouTube, E4 here, going to show you my take on a misery toadstool with one hand. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take that poisoned canary and drop it at the the mushroom there. And we're going to create a little bit of light slash fire. And that's what we're going to use to keep the toad occupied while we fight him. Once we get that all situated, we're going to run back over to the fridge and eat some jerky quick just to fix the sanity. And then we're going to drop all this useless crap and collect the necessary items to fight the toad. I did record this footage yesterday morning on the PS4, just doing some voiceovers here while editing it together. PlayStation only records 15 minutes at a time. Because the fight takes longer than that, I did have to edit a few pieces together, but this is one take. I'm gonna equip myself here. We're gonna start out with 12 helmets and 14 dark swords. 14 dark swords is more than enough to kill a misery toad with a Wigford. However, if you ever attack the toadstool with 1 to 4 spore caps up, he blocks 20% of the damage. So we did bring a good handful of extras. The busted up hay walls that I have here are just to prevent the spore caps from coming up. It reduces the total number of them that I have to deal with during the fight. It works in the same mechanic as stopping tentacles from coming up with a wicker bottom trap. Same sort of thing is going on here. Now initially in the fight, until much later on, I'm not going to tank any damage. I'm going to dodge all of the bone shrooms and remove the clouds from the toadstool area. Later on, when he starts to jump, I will initially tank some of the damage in order to attack a little bit faster. Now you can see here he's trying to put up his spore caps, but they just don't come up anywhere because of the hay walls. There is a chance that they will come up real close to him and also far away where I have not reached way out. The hay walls is a large amount in order to farm materials necessary, so I didn't do as many as what I could have. Now, during this process of the fight, during this phase, I am constantly turning my camera around in order to see behind Toadstool in other areas that I can't necessarily see right now. So, I know that gets a little disorienting at times to watch, but that's something that we have to do in order to check on them. One thing that I really struggle with as a one-handed player is when I'm done chopping the spore trees, I tend to pick the flowers, which will reduce his being frozen. So I'm really trying to concentrate on how many times I hack with the axe. Also, when I get close to the end, I slow down with my chops in order to stop when the tree finally falls. So I'm just going to continue to break dark swords over his head and avoid the boom shrooms. Not a whole lot that's stressful here. Pretty simple fight so far. Now with that shroom skin falling and that roar of the toad will be 25% of his total health. Normally with a regular toadstool that would be 33%. But with the Misery Toad, he drops 4 shroom skin at what I want to say is 25% increments. That is unclear at exactly how far, but that's what it seems to be. We have the antlion trying to drop boulders on my head now, so I'm going to run away in hopes that the toad does not follow me, and also in hopes that the boulders don't land on my head. That's very rare that it does, but as long as you keep moving, you can avoid all that. Now one thing that I try and do here is keep the toad directly in the middle of the arena, directly over his hole if possible. The further he walks away, the more likely he is to knock down any of the hay walls or potentially flingomatics, which could happen. During a regular toad fight without hay walls or just a normal fight, we will try and walk him away in order to get free hits as he comes back. That's a different strategy. We can discuss that at another time if you want to see a regular toad fight. Post in the comments and I will make another video if necessary. Now, some people will say that this technique that I'm using here is a cheese way, and I agree in some senses it could be. However, with one hand we do what we have to do in order to make these fights win. So with the second player, any other player, and we will do the fight the normal way without any walls or flingomatics or anything. We just fight with swords. So even though I am still able to solo hand any of the giants in this game, I fight all of them. This will be the first time that I have successfully killed a Misery Toad with myself in just one hand. Normally I bring a helper at least, but this project was just to challenge myself to see if I was capable of doing it. Now some of that you see there where I'm bringing up the crafting menu is just part of my handicap, the way that I have to hold the controller. Sometimes presses into the trigger and will occasionally get stuck in that crafting menu there. Sometimes that becomes a problem when running from something, or trying not to let Deerclop smash you, and all of a sudden you're stuck in the menu being frozen. We are getting considerably better at that. This is one of the more difficult locations for spore caps to spawn, because multiple times on other attempts of this, they would spawn next to the staircase there, and I would accidentally go up the stairs and end the fight after the spore cap was down. So that is something I am very cautious of, is chopping anywhere near the stairs. Picking extra flowers kind of sucks, but that's something that we can live with. The fight will go on at that point. You run up those stairs and it's all over. Fight done with. Which is not what we're trying to accomplish here. So far the fight seems to be going pretty well. At this time I have yet to break a helmet. Just casually avoiding the boom shrooms. They do give you plenty of time to react, so you can continue to hit for a couple of seconds before avoiding them. Now it seems that I have wasted quite a bit of time running away and dodging the boom shrooms and avoiding the clouds and that sort of thing. Had I tanked a little bit more of the damage, I probably could have done the fight a little bit quicker. But that's debatable because the more you tank, the more you have to run away to heal yourself, so. Again, I brought plenty of items, way more than necessary for the fight. Couple of quick pierogies to heal myself up, and then we're going to re-equip ourselves with dark swords. I didn't know quite how much I was going to need, even though it only requires 12 with the spore caps blocking 20%. I knew I was going to need a handful of extras. I actually started with more dark swords than I used during this, but not knowing, I'd rather carry them all with me. Really got to be careful with that jump because it does quite a bit of damage and breaks helmets very quickly. I do dodge a few of them, however, sometimes I just decide to stay and tank it, because if you run away and still get hit, then that's a whole lot of time that you've essentially wasted for not attacking during that jump. But each time he jumps, I have to run away to heal, so it is kind of debatable whether it is worthwhile to do that or not. I'm not going to say by any means that this is the best way to kill the toadstool or misery toadstool, but this is my take on it as a one-handed player. There are many of other options and ways to do this. I use many different techniques myself depending on which helpers are available, where the toad is, and different things as far as that goes, the season. The season is currently summer now, as many of you may have guessed with the antlion dropping things on me. In my opinion, summer is the best time to attack this because you don't have to worry about the rain or the cold or any of that crap. With the dwarf stars, cold would not be an issue anyway, so I guess winter would be a valid option, however I have not. Try and mute my phone here as Discord is going nuts at the moment. With that roar and shroom skin, I believe he is now on his last phase, which means he's going to start to jump much more often, and it's going to start to hurt. Seems like every time I get back to start fighting him, he jumps again. Although I have avoided many of them, I usually just try and stay close by. Not really recommended if you don't have as much preparations as I have, or if you're newer to a toadstool fight, I would probably try and dodge just to get used to the mechanics. As a one-handed player, it's much tougher to get back to the other analog stick in order to run away. So a lot of times when I dodge, I get hit anyway. Or oftentimes I will dodge one of them, I'll take the first hit and dodge the second one. So potentially a Thelyssite crown would work well for this because it would absorb the first amount of, or I would absorb the first amount of damage and block the second. That is potentially an alternative for me. However, they are not as readily available as battle helmets are. We have lots and lots of battle helmets. So we're getting close to the end of the fight now. I'm going to start to talk about the resources that I used for this. In total, I used 5 to 6 helmets, about 5.5 of them, even tanking as many jumps as I did. And we used about roughly 12.5 dark swords in order to kill the Misery Toad here. We also ate approximately 5 jerky and 5 pierogies. The dark swords was really the main expense of this fight. As far as healing items and armor goes, I think I did fairly well here on account of I usually use more helmets and more pierogies to solo Klaus. So Klaus is not nearly as difficult as a Misery Toad. So with that sort of comparison, I think I did fairly well here. I also used roughly 85% of a luxury axe. The second one that I brought with was not needed. I probably could have gotten away without, but I did also eat 1 jelly bean. I very, very rarely use any jelly beans at all. Just decided to bring them for this fight as an emergency case. And there you go. Misery Toad has been killed with 1 hand, and 1 hand only, as my left side is completely paralyzed now. If you'd like this video or would like to see any more, please like, comment if you will, any requests or anything like that. Subscribe if you care.